Here is the second episode of Current Affairs. The Ministry of Power released a preliminary draft of the Carbon Credit Trading Scheme (CCTS) in order to establish a framework for the Indian carbon market. Stakeholders invited to provide feedback on the draft scheme by 14th April 2023. The Energy Conservation Amendment Bill 2022, also called as ECBC, which was passed in Parliament, empowers the central government to define the carbon trading scheme in consultation with the Bureau of Energy Efficiency (BEE). The CCTS aims to reduce or remove greenhouse gas emissions, and an accredited carbon verifier accredited by the BEE will carry out validation or verification activities under the scheme. CCTS includes the Indian Carbon Market Governing Board (ICMGB), which will provide governance, administrative and regulatory oversight of the Indian carbon market, with the Power and Environment Secretaries serving as ex officio co-chairmen. The ICMGB will make recommendations to the central government regarding the procedures, rules, regulations, methodologies, and guidelines for the functioning of the Indian carbon market. A carbon credit is a tradable permit representing the right to emit a set amount of carbon dioxide or the equivalent amount of a different greenhouse gas, which Residential Society Prime Minister Narendra Modi commended during his 99th episode of Man Ki Baat on 26th March 2023. MSR Olive Housing Society in Pune, Maharashtra. Why? For their outstanding effort on installing solar panels, the society generates approximately 90,000 kilowatt hours of electricity annually. PM also praised Dew in Daman Dew for their remarkable efforts in achieving 100% clean energy for all daytime needs. Dew is the first district in India that uses solar energy for all daytime needs by installation of solar panels on barren land and buildings. By this, Dew saves about 52 crore on electricity purchases. River Aranier in Andhra Pradesh was in news because of unabated illegal sand mining in the name of desilting and dredging activity without an environment impact assessment. NGT Southern Zone Bench at Chennai has blamed the Irrigation Department for failing to protect riverine ecosystems. The segmentation of sand mining into small pockets led to the projects being considered as B2 category, which violated the principle of public trust doctrine. The NGT Southern Zone Bench at Chennai has ordered a review of B1 and B2 project classification by MOEF and CC and sensitize SEIAA on sand mining. India's cheetah reintroduction project sees success with 4 cubs' birth. You must be aware that the government is inviting suggestions to name the cubs. Under the project, 8 cheetahs were brought from Namibia and 12 cheetahs were brought from South Africa. 1 cheetah died recently due to kidney failure. India looks to reintroduce tigers in which country? Cambodia. India and Cambodia have already signed an MOU in 2009 to translocate tigers to Cambodia. Government of India has granted 800 crore for 7432 first charging stations under FAME 2. FAME, that is faster adoption and manufacture of hybrid and electric vehicles. Samarth, Sustainable Agrarian Mission on use of agri residue in thermal power plants. In order to address the issue of air pollution due to farm stubble burning and to reduce carbon footprints of thermal power generation, Ministry of Power has decided to set up a national mission on use of biomass in coal-based thermal power plants. Do you remember Earth Hour? Recently, on 25th March, it was observed. It started in 2007. Earth Hour is also known for the Lights Off movement, with individuals from around the globe switching off their lights to show symbolic support for the planet and to raise awareness of the environmental issues affecting it. Capital city Delhi saved 279 megawatts of electricity during Earth Hour 2023. Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Bhupinder Yadav on 25th March 2023 launched the Arabali Green Wall project at Tikli village in Gurugram, Haryana. This is an initiative to green the 5-kilometer buffer area around the Arabali Hill range in 4 states. International Day of Forests, also called the World Forestry Day, is celebrated on 21st March. The theme for 2023 was Forests and Health. It was started in 2012. Do you remember Talabira coal mines? It was in the news for forest rights. Do you know some part of coal is transported from here to which city? Tuticorin. Formerly, Tuticorin is now Thuthukudi. It is a port city in Tamil Nadu. Thuthukudi was the only city from Tamil Nadu to be listed as one of the non-attainment cities by the Ministry of Environment, primarily on the basis of excess PM10 under the National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring Program NAMP for the period 2011-2015. Based on a report of the Central Pollution Control Board CPCB dated 13th February 2023, the National Green Tribunal has acknowledged that microplastics, both primary and secondary, pollute drinking water sources primarily through discharge of sewage or wastewater treatment plant, effluent and surface runoff. Section 19 of Environment Protection Act does not empower DCDM to act as a court, says NGT Eastern Zone Bench. Under the Act, the collector and district magistrate only acts as a complainant. Subarnarekha river pollution was in news. The river is in Jharkhand. As the State Pollution Control Board has given Tata Steel a clean sheet, the NGT has set up a joint committee to assess facts in the ground. The Forest Advisory Committee FAC has recommended that as long as the forest land is used for the same purpose for which its non-forestry use was allowed before 1980, the provisions of Forest Conservation Act 1980 will not be applicable subject to 3 conditions. Like Josimath, in which district of Chenab Valley in Jammu and Kashmir, earth started slipping and caused damage to most of the houses in the area, which has led to displacement of inhabitants. DODA. In 2021, IUCN listed 2.13 million species on the planet. A major share of 1.05 million is of the insects and over 11,000 birds, over 11,000 reptiles, and over 6,000 mammals. An estimated number of species on the earth in 2011 shows out of 8.75 million species, a total of 2.21 million are ocean species. UNCLOS is United Nations Convention on the Law of Sea. International legally binding instrument Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction BBNG is under UNCLOS. India has released a report, Assessment of Avoided CO2 Emissions During Construction and Operation of National Highways at the World Sustainable Development Summit WSDS 2023. In 2016, about 243 million tons of CO2 was emitted from the operation of fossil fuel run vehicles in India, which is 10.8% of the total national CO2 emissions. Approximately 77,265 km of highways constructed since 2014 has potential to avoid 32.15 million tons of CO2 per year, 642.95 million tons of CO2 in 20 years, which is equivalent to CO2 sequestration by 36,149 million trees. Clearing of forests and felling of trees outside forests TOF for construction of national highways since 2014, combined CO2 emission is 652.6 thousand tons. Clearing of forests and felling of tree outside forest TOF for construction of national highways since 2014, the total area of forest loss amounted to 2.18 thousand hectare and the total equivalent area of TOF fell was around 32.70 thousand hectare. National Highway Infrastructure NHAI along with the Department of Fertilizers, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers is going to take up field trials on NHAI projects for use of phosphorus gypsum in national highway construction to achieve a circular economy in the use of gypsum. Phosphor gypsum is a byproduct of fertilizer production. The 135 km long 6-lane Eastern Peripheral Expressway used 1.2 crore cubic meters of fly ash in its construction. NMCG, National Mission for Clean Ganga, has proposed drone surveillance of which drain in Delhi? Sadra drain. The total greenhouse gas emissions of the country in 2016 were around 2,838 million tons of CO2, out of which agriculture sector emissions were only 14%. The Government of India selected 19 single-use plastics which were banned with effect from 1st July 2022. Which Indian government organization conducts studies of Himalayan glaciers melting? Geological Surveys of India. National Center for Polar and Ocean Research NCPOR has been monitoring 6 glaciers in the Chandra Basin 2437 km square area in Western Himalaya since 2013. The glacier inventory prepared by NCPOR for the Chandra Basin shows that it has lost about 6% of its glacial area during the last 20 years and 2.4 meter water equivalent to 9 meter water equivalent ice mass during 2013-2021. The glaciers in Vaga Basin lost huge ice mass in the range of 6 meter water equivalent to 9 meter water equivalent during 2008-2021. Annual rate of retreat of Chandra Basin glaciers varies from 13 to 33 meter per year during the last decade. Chorabari Glacier in the Mandakini Basin is retreating at a rate of 9 to 11 meter per annum during 2003-2017. Durung Drung and Pensi Lungpa glaciers in Suru Basin, Ladakh are retreating at 12 meter per annum and nearly 5.6 meter per annum respectively. The mean retreat rate of Hindu Kush Himalayan glaciers is 14.9 plus minus 15.1 meter per annum